Hello students, wish you all a very good morning. Post puja, we are going to start the chapter from your flamingo book, that is Indigo. Before starting the chapter, we would talk a bit about the author. The author of Indigo is Louis Fischer. He was born in Philadelphia. He served as a volunteer in the British Army between 1918 and 1920. Fischer made a career as a journalist and wrote for the New York Times, the Saturday Review, and for European and Asian publications. He was also a member of the faculty at Princeton University. This chapter, Indigo, is an excerpt from his book, The Life of Mahatma Gandhi. The book has been reviewed as one of the best books ever written on Gandhi by Times Educational Supplement. So Louis Fischer, as you can see, is an American journalist who came into contact with Gandhi and was influenced by his scruples. And he wrote the book, The Life of Mahatma Gandhi. This is the best biography of Gandhi. So, we are going to read the chapter Indigo. Indigo is a part taken from the biography written by Louis Fischer. Now, what is indigo? Let us focus on the title. Indigo is nothing but a color that is manufactured naturally, not artificially. It was used as a dye. So, this chapter, we will talk about the first civil disobedience movement by Mahatma Gandhi, that is the Champaran Satyagraha movement, regarding the farming and cultivation of indigo. So before starting the chapter, I would like you all to know about the civil disobedience movement and the Champaran Satyagraha. Hello students, now we will see what is Satyagraha. Satya means truth and Agraha means appeal. So Gandhiji undertook this policy, that is, truth is the ultimate power that can defeat anything. He believed that physical violence could not achieve anything. Physical force or violence is not needed to fight the Englishman. He believed in the undertaking of truth. Truth and non-violence are the strongest weapons to win any battle of life. He believed this. And he also believed that weak people opt for violence. So, he undertook many non-violent methods, civil disobedience methods. Today, we are going to see the early 3 satyagrahas that were organized by Gandhiji. The 3 satyagrahas. Today, we are going to focus only on the first satyagraha, though we will get to see the first 3 satyagrahas. The first satyagraha was undertaken by Gandhiji in 1916, Champaran Satyagraha. Then CURA Satyagraha in Gujarat in 1917 and finally Ahmedabad Satyagraha in 1918. What happened in Champaran? That is what we will deal in the chapter Indigo. Peasants were forced to produce indigo, and high revenue was demanded even during the time of famine. Gandhiji stood beside the poor farmers, the shareholders of the land, the farmers, and abided by them and helped them to speak for them and get victory. Okay, students, so now let us start the chapter. When I first visited Gandhi, here I refers to the writer Louis Fischer. When I first visited Gandhi in 1942 at his ashram in Sevagram in central India. So let us have a look at his ashram of Sevagram. I'll show you. So this is Sevagram Ashram of Bapu, okay, at central India. So it was in 1942 that Louis Fischer went to meet Gandhiji in his Sevagram Ashram in central India. And then only Gandhiji told him that how he had felt the urge. Urge means the need for the departure of the British. It was in the year 1917 after Gandhiji returned from South Africa fighting apartheid. So I will tell you how it happened that I decided to urge the departure of the British. It was in 1917. He had gone to the December 1916 annual convention, that is the annual session of the Indian National Congress Party in Lucknow. So let us see the important Indian National Congress sessions and the places where it occurred. You see, this is it. 1885 Bombay, 1886 Calcutta, 1887 Madras, 1888 Allahabad, 1896 Calcutta again, 1905 Banaras, 1907 Surat, 1909 Lahore, 1911 Calcutta again, 1916 Lucknow. The president of the session was Ambika Charan Mazumdar. Okay, and this year is important. This session was important because Lucknow Pact joint session with the Muslim League was formed in that year. So it was in 1916 in the Lucknow session where Gandhiji went and the thing started. The first civil disobedience movement started, and why he felt the need for the departure of the British. So at that time he had gone to the December 1916 annual convention of the Indian National Congress. There were 2,301 delegates. So you see, in 1885 when the first session of the Indian National Congress was held, it was attended by only 76 delegates. But now in then in 1916 it increased to 2,301 delegates and many visitors. During the proceedings, Gandhi recounted, a peasant came up to me looking like any other peasant in India, poor and emaciated. Emaciated means very lean and slim due to malnutrition. Poor and emaciated, and said, I am Rajkumar Shukla. I am from Champaran. Champaran is in Bihar, and I want you to come to my district. Gandhi had never heard of the place. It was in the foothills of the towering Himalayas near the kingdom of Nepal. Under an ancient arrangement, the Champaran peasants were sharecroppers. So they were tenants, they were shareholders, sharecroppers. That is, they got some land from the landowner. They brew up crop in that portion of land that was given to them as rent. Rajkumar Shukla was one of them. He was illiterate but resolute. Resolute means very firm. He had come to the Congress session to complain about the injustice of the landlord system in Bihar. And somebody had probably said, speak to Gandhi. And that is why Rajkumar Shukla had come to Lucknow. Gandhi told Shukla he had an appointment in Kanpur and was also committed to go to other parts of India. How can he accompany Shukla to Bihar? Shukla was resilient. Shukla was firm. Shukla accompanied him everywhere. Then Gandhi returned to his ashram near Ahmedabad, the Ahmedabad ashram, Sabarmati ashram. Okay, Shukla followed him to the ashram. For weeks he never left Gandhiji's side. He was so resolute, and he continuously pestered Gandhiji, fix a date. Fix a date. He begged to fix a date so that Gandhi could accompany him to his place and see the pitiful condition of the sharecroppers, of the tenants. So, finally, they returned to Sabarmati Ashram. Let me show you a picture of the Sabarmati Ashram at Ahmedabad. of Gandhiji. This is the Sabarmati Ashram at Ahmedabad. Okay, so finally, Shukla was a very resolute person. He was poor, but he was thoroughly resolute. Impressed by the sharecroppers' tenacity and story, Gandhi said. Finally, Gandhi promised him that he will go with him. I have to be in Calcutta on such and such a date. Come and meet me and take me from there. Months passed. Shukla was sitting on his haunches at the appointed spot. Haunches means with both the knees folded. At the appointed spot in Calcutta when Gandhi arrived. He waited till Gandhi was free. Then the two of them boarded a train for the city of Patna in Bihar. There, Shukla led him to the house of a lawyer named Rajendra Prasad, who later became the president of the Congress Party and of India, the first president of Free India, Rajendra Prasad. He was also a lawyer. Shukla took Gandhiji to his house. Rajendra Prasad was out of town, but the servants knew Shukla as a poor yeoman who pestered their master to help the Indigo sharecroppers. So, all the servants knew Shukla very well. He was resolute every time he went to Rajendra Prasad to request him to fight for the sharecroppers. So the servants knew him and allowed him to stay on the grounds despite their master was not in the house. So they let him stay on the grounds with his companion. Gandhi, whom they took to be another peasant, was also allowed to stay. But Gandhi was not permitted to draw water from the well, lest some drops from his bucket pollute the entire source. So how did they know that he was not an untouchable? Gandhi decided to go first to Muzaffarpur, underline, which was en route to Champaran, to obtain more information about the conditions that Shukla was not capable of telling him. He accordingly sent a telegram to Professor J.B. Kripalani of the Arts College in Muzaffarpur, whom he had seen at Tagore's Shantiniketan school. So Gandhiji was previously acquainted with J.B. Kripalani. He sent a telegram to him at Muzaffarpur that he was reaching there. The train arrived at midnight 15